Hi, everyone. It's Sue here, and I'm really excited to just be telling you a little bit about the course as we start this journey together. And I just want to say, I'm so sorry we're not together in class. I really miss the opportunity to see you face to face. But as we move through the next 12 weeks, I really hope I get to know you in different ways and that we really have an opportunity to learn both from and about each other. So on we go. What do we know about what's going to happen in this high acuity nursing course? I want to talk just for a second about what's common to all high acuity settings. Sometimes you think, oh, it's all about patients in high acuity settings might be unstable. They might all be on ventilators. They might all have hemodynamic monitoring. That's kind of tangential. That's the periphery. What we know is that patients are exquisitely vulnerable. They may be vulnerable for lots of different reasons, including medically vulnerable, physiologically vulnerable, but they can be vulnerable in many, many ways, and their families are there with them most of the time, experiencing that same level of vulnerability. There's no question, superbly developed skill sets are required in by the healthcare providers who work in high acuity. And that includes not only the actions, the kinds of things we have to do, as I'm sure you're all excited to learn how we might defibrillate a patient or how we might intubate a patient or assist with the intubation of a patient. The more important skill for all of us is the thinking skill. Nurses are involved in knowledge work. We are knowledge workers. Although we then move to enactment, it is so essential that it's always about the thinking, the assessment, the decision-making, and the movement towards action that is superbly skilled. Outstanding teamwork in interprofessional practice goes without saying in high acuity settings. And really an important word that we consider an important concept is unpredictability. That patients who are in high acuity settings have conditions that are not predictable, and that the situation in high acuity settings is often not predictable. A change in patients, other kinds of things, change in assignments happening very quickly. High acuity settings are a moving target. And so part of what a nurse needs to do is be clean, be crisp, have all of your stuff done as much as you can, be able to move on. If you're pulled from one area to another area, if your patient assignment changes, if your patient condition changes, but also be very exquisitely prepared for transfer of accountability, because transfer of accountability is one of those key components. So how do you successfully navigate a career in high acuity nursing? What I would say, and everybody's going to have a different answer for this, but that a high acuity nurse, it's all about being a detective. It's detective work at the very core of this. That we need to have those really highly developed clinical reasoning and clinical thinking skills, that we need to have tenacity and humility, and that we need to be able to prepare ourselves for a life of learning in our careers. That we need to be fearless in our advocacy. Advocacy and leadership should be words that have parentheses around them and capital and bold letters, because we speak as though they are regular words, but those concepts are incredibly difficult within our practice often. We need to have a knowledge and a skill set that match our field. If I am an exquisite adult emergency nurse, I would say that. I work across all of the ages, but I would not go and work in a neonatal intensive care unit. That is not my specialty. So my skill set needs to be tied to that. We need to be able to take care of ourselves. It's a long journey to get ourselves to a career that spans many years in environments that change so rapidly. And most fundamentally, we need to be able to pick ourselves up, shake ourselves up, and learn from our mistakes. So important as we move through the rest of our careers that we're able to do that. And that was my daughter, Kate, who was coming to tell me something. So I apologize for that, but we're all managing complex lives, I know, at the moment. So I know you'll all appreciate that. Course philosophy, this is really important. And sometimes students don't believe it, or they think that I'm not telling the truth. But what I really believe is this quote: true learning doesn't occur until we're able to understand information and then be able to apply it to a different situation. It's not about memorizing anything. It's not about what I say it's important. It's about you understanding the information that is available to you to be able to make decisions and apply it in different situations. And so I'm not going to go through all of this, but really to understand, hopefully take a moment to look at this slide, but to really understand the difference between memorizing and understanding. We're memorizing information. Now, many of you are probably better than me. I remember taking pathophysiology and just memorizing it, memorizing. And if you asked me a couple of years later, some of those facts, they were gone. So when I was looking after my first patient with SIADH, that pathophysiology information was not available to me to recall in such a way that I could meaningfully question or even anticipate orders for that patient. Rather, I had to follow a skills or an order set and really look things up constantly in the moment. It was not the best situation. That happens to all of us when we're faced with new patients. So part of our goal in learning to understand material is also learning a skill set that enables us to find the material. So to be able to look something up, evaluate if that information is accurate and reasonable, and then be able to apply it. But I believe had I understood that pathophysiology in much more detail than memorize it, I would be able to apply it better. And so instead of interpreting information literally, instead of trying to know like exactly when students say, is this on a test? I don't care if something's on a test or not. You shouldn't care if it's on a test or not. I know marks matter. I know so much that they matter, and they matter for your life and other things. You need to know if you need this information to save somebody's life 10 years from now. Now, hopefully the state of the science has changed, but maybe some of it is long lasting. This information that we talk about in the course, the concepts that we talk about in the course are about real practice, not just about moving your way effectively through the course. I expect all of you will do well in the course because you know what, you're all smart. We have the best students you could ever want in this program. And I am so thrilled and privileged to be able to work with you. You are smart. And so that's why instead of just memorizing in an abstract way all these concepts, we're going to try to consistently understand concepts and apply those concepts so we own the knowledge. We own that information as opposed to that information owns us. So again, 21st century learning for nurses. You need to realize that our role as nurses, remember I've talked about this before, is that of knowledge workers. Information literacy is key. Information literacy requires that we are able to form a clear question, determine how to find the information that would answer that question, search out that information, retrieve that information, analyze that information, and come up with a response ourselves. It's an important process. So when you ask, why do I have to take research as part of a nursing program? It's key to a BSCN, to any science degree. Research and statistics are required for a 4-year science degree, but additionally, information literacy is critical to the future. That is how the world will work, that we are required to find information because there is such a change. Knowledge growth is happening so fast that there is such an incredible change in information. And then finally, digital literacy. Digital literacy really focuses on how we're able to use a variety of computer technologies to promote our own ability to gain that information, to gain access to information. And I always love, for those of you who know Dana Torney, we worked on an iPad trial where nursing students took a mini iPad into clinical practice. And I remember her saying to students who were doubtful about this, you know, we're getting to a point where patients all have their iPads at the bedside. And not just, you know, a young patient, 75-year-old, 80-year-old patients have their own iPad. That patients are going to look at us and say, what, you're keeping all that information just in your head? Like you're just telling me the answer from your head, as opposed to looking it up. So much changes so quickly. We need to have strategies that employ digital technologies at the point of care. And so it's not cheating to look something up on your phone, on your iPad, on the computer, and other things. It's not that you are taking the easy way out, or you're not doing things fully or in the best manner because you haven't learned it, and we're not having closed book tests, which we'll talk about. In fact, we're trying to mimic or mirror the process that you should employ for the rest of your life, because what I am going to talk about right now, what I can guarantee is that it's good for right now, winter 2021. I am not going to be able to guarantee that even by summer 2021, it still applies. That's all we can say, right? That it's good for now. So digital literacy, with the information literacy skill set that we have, enables us to move into the future in a way where we are able to see changes as they emerge and implement them into our practice. So how does that play out in our classroom? In this term, it'll be a virtual classroom. I think one, I'm going to always try to promote understanding of concepts. So really coming back to that idea, are you getting it? Are you with me? Do you understand? That idea that learning is multimodal. So there's both thinking and doing components, and I'll try to stress both of those. Of course, unfortunately, we're not face-to-face, but we're going to focus both on the thinking elements, but then what would we do and how would we do it? We're going to use, you can use memory aids and technology for facts, but we're going to really focus also on application. So if you think a test, an open book test means that you can look everything up. You can look a lot of things up, but the question should have enough application that you're really going to have to determine what would you do, or what is the reasonable next course of action. And then, I think it's really critical that in all situations that we are able to embrace the unknown, learn new things, be open to new ideas, challenge those new ideas, but really be open to what's unfolding in the world around us currently, old standards, all kinds of things, that we take risks. I hope this course is some fun. I hope you really enjoy it. For sure it's hard. It's going to be very hard, but everything is hard in nursing, right? Nursing's a hard degree. I think, oh boy, those people who take a degree in geography, those people who are engineers, that's nothing. Come take a nursing degree, right? Nursing degrees are hard, courses are hard, but boy, I hope it's worth it. I hope you say at the end of this semester that you buckled your seatbelt and boy, was that ever a ride. I'd like you to ask questions. Absolutely ask as many questions as you have. Keep in touch, let me know. I'll create like a discussion forum that helps us to understand where questions are at, and also that you just collaborate with me. Keep going, work together, and collaborate with each other. So recognizing that we're all in this together, me as well. Leslie Graham is a dear friend and an incredible colleague who will be in this course shell with us and working with us on some of the components. And I'm so very pleased and privileged to be able to collaborate with her, and that you all will have the opportunity as well. So I think of us as a team all working together. So I know everybody always wants to know, how am I going to be evaluating you? Because we have moved to these large classes, things are a little bit different than usual, and we're just going to see how it goes. But this is the plan. Midterm exam 1 is going to happen according to that course at a glance that I'll go through with you. And it is worth 25% of your grade. It's an open book test. That means you can use any resources. You can look on the internet, you can look on your phone, you can have made notes, you can have the PowerPoints that I post or the lectures, you can have your textbook, you can do all kinds of things. What you cannot do is talk to each other, work with each other. So no phone calls, no working with each other side by side or anything else. Absolutely no collaboration with each other, because it's not a group test. But for sure use resources, because remember I talked about the philosophy of the course. What's the philosophy? That you're not memorizing information, but you're learning to understand and apply it. Same thing, midterm test number 2. So midterm test number 1, we'll have gone through a module where we're working around week 1, our understanding of high acuity nursing, looking at vital signs and patterns and understanding how they relate to each other. In week 2, we start moving towards some fluid and electrolytes. Then we move into hemodynamic monitoring. So that will all happen within the context of your midterm test 1. Midterm test 2 is really going to focus on lead 2 monitoring. We won't, unfortunately, have time in just 4 weeks to be able to get to 12 lead monitoring. This is really the down and dirty, what do you need to know, how to be competent in lead 2 interpretation. And it takes some time and some effort to be able to really move through those weeks. And trust me that Leslie and I are going to get you there. And so then the midterm test 2 will happen at the end of that component. And then you'll have a final exam in the exam period. Same thing, all open book, no collaboration with each other. And then we're going to have some engagement activities in the course, and they total 15%. There's 2 that are individual. In week 1, you're going to have a scavenger hunt. It's just a list of things. There'll be a document that you need to fill out and upload, and that really helps you to navigate the course website, to know what the dates of the tests are, to know where you find something, all things like that. In week, I'm trying to remember, I think it's 11, you have the opportunity to complete a ventilator module. It's all about ventilator settings and other kinds of things, and you earn a certificate for that, and you will actually upload your certificate for the ventilator module. Each one of those is 3%. It's just all or nothing. The scavenger hunt, I guess if you uploaded it, but everything was missing, listen, uploaded completed, 3%. Hooray, right? Upload the ventilator module, proof of completion certificate, and 3%, hooray, right? You've got it, it's done, and it has to be done by the due date. No extensions on the engagement activities. I'm sorry, like I'm trying to be so flexible in every way, but there has to be some parameters around that. So if you can just pay attention to that. Then there are 3 opportunities to work within a small group, and we're going to work our way through 3 different simulations, virtual simulations, and I hope you'll find them intriguing and exciting and challenging, and that they really augment the learning in this course that would otherwise just be a theory course. And for each of the simulations, there are these 6 components. You're going to do a self pre-assessment. It's quick. I'm not going to tell you all about it now because you'll see it and I'll give you instructions there at the time, but it's quick, it's simple, it's a couple of sentences on a template, and you're going to upload that before you do the sim. Prep. The prep for the sim might be readings that we're doing that week, or it might be I've given you another article, but typically it's probably the prep is included in the other kinds of readings we're doing that week. So do the prep. The pre-brief will be a recorded description of the simulation and anything to pay attention to, anything particularly relevant. Usually those are short, maybe 10 minutes. Listen to it before the sim. The simulation, complete it, and if it gives you a certificate of completion, save that and upload it. If it doesn't, then save a screenshot and upload that so that there is proof that you've completed the sim. And then you've all been placed into small groups, 6 or 7 students per group. And within your small group, you're going to see that for those 3 simulations, the weeks of those 3 simulations, there'll be a set of questions. Those questions are, you're expected to individually respond to those questions. They're sort of applying what you've learned in the simulation and then opening it up to a little bit broader learning. So answer all of those, each of you should answer all of those questions within your small group, right? Answer all of those questions within your small group and then discuss within your small group between each other. Okay, so that's happening just in your small group. And watch the due dates, and I'll be looking at that in your small group. And then you just do the self post assessment and you're going to upload that. So there's 3 uploads: self pre-assessment, self post assessment. It's the same doc. You're filling it out twice. One is pre-assessment, one's post, and you're really reflecting on how confident you feel based on that. So an upload of the pre-assessment, an upload of the same document that's now labeled post-assessment, and an upload of proof of your simulation completion. You're going to work within your small group to answer those debrief questions, and you're going to have completed the prep and listen to the pre-brief. And I will have no evidence of that, but I know you will because you're all fantastic learners. And that's it. So that's the beginning. It's so much to take in that I think I'm going to leave that where we're at, and I will carry on as we go through the weeks. I hope, one little note, I really hope you can forgive me if sometimes I post a video that or YouTube presentation that I've already recorded, and is it too cheesy to sometimes have something in it like I promised in class that we would continue on with this discussion, or you know, as I said, something like that. If I make reference that doesn't make sense, can you forgive me that it's because I might have recorded some of them last winter? I'm doing my very best to make them fresh, but if they were perfect, haha, that was like a joke. If they were good, and there's really nothing new except that I've said, as I promised, I'll give you more examples, then I'm hoping that you can forgive that I'm just reusing that PowerPoint and Zoom, and know that I'm always available if you want any more information or if you need anything else. If it's distracting, let me know. If there's anything in there, a slide or something that you should disregard, I'll say that, disregard that. And I'll say that because I'll give you a weekly announcement as we move through the course about the focus of the week to come. All right, I promise now I really am stopping. Thank you for listening, and I can hardly wait to get started.